and also, oh, so yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not sure if I answered all the questions.
Sorry, I just clicked the record on there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I realized there's like 25 people signed up and there's only 3 of us here. So there's going to be a lot of replays going out and I really should record it. But what I'm hearing and what I want you to first acknowledge is the quantum leap that you took in 2021. You took your social media from nothing through to where you have a really solid brand, a consistent message, you've got clients, you are making an impact, whether you feel like you are or not, you're impacting people. The fact that they're reaching out and having a conversation with you means you're moving them. So I want you to first of all celebrate that you're incredible. The clarity that you have today compared to that first ever call that we did off one of the challenges is insane. You know, the way that you share what you do, how you impact people, the result that you create. There's no doubt there. There is doubt somewhere and there is insecurity somewhere, and you're holding on to something somewhere on the inside because of the level of people that you're attracting. We're always attracting like for like. So what I'm hearing is that you're ready for your next level. And then when you take that step, you're going to then start attracting the people who are either already there or ready for it, or like really, really close. But this is,
yeah, I mean, that makes total sense to me. I mean, I can feel that, and I know the doubt is there.
That'll be the internet swapping over. She's gonna come back. Don't you hate it when your Wi-Fi does that, when it clicks in and you're halfway?
Yeah.
Sorry, we lost you. I think your internet crossed over.
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Oh, good. Yeah, so there is definitely that lack of confidence, and then yeah, and I sometimes find myself getting lost in like other like my husband will say, oh, just send Keelan back to school because you're actually starting to really enjoy business and you don't have to homeschool and just see how he goes at school. And I'm thinking, so he's putting doubts. No, he's not putting doubts. He's putting doubts out there and I'm latching on to them. So, and I mean, I'm fully aware that he can't, that he doesn't have that power over me, but there's that little, I guess, that insecurity in myself is latching on to other people's opinions and their insecurities as well. So, yeah.
I'm bringing this masterclass to you because I took a big step back in my business in the second 6 months of last year. I went from intentionally filling my book to intentionally, well, actually, originally it was very unintentional. It was an energetic thing. It was like capacity is hit. And really sort of once I realized that was my energetic sort of output, actually trusting it and saying, you know, I'm going to call in a little bit more peace and quiet to truly understand what I want 2022 to look like, because the truth is that we can create anything that we want. And the truth is that I created exactly the same abundance in the second half of 2021 as I did in the first half of 2021, but by spending about a third of the time. And so the truth is that you can homeschool your boy if that is aligned to who you are, your values, your beliefs, your desires.
Yeah, and it's one, I mean, even since before he went to school, like we looked into homeschooling when he was 2, but that was for different reasons. That was because we didn't think he'd be able to partake in mainstream schooling. And he's tried, he loves it there and everything, but it no longer aligns with my values at all. The school system, everything that's happening right now, and so that's the reason for taking him out. But yeah, but I'm in a very different place now because I've now got a business.
Exactly. And we don't get to choose how our desires manifest, but the fact is there was a desire. There's always been a desire, whether that's, to do with the neurodiversity, or whether something on the inside of you just actually desires to have things your way, grow your child, develop your child in a way that suits you and not suits the system. So the universe will find the way to deliver us what we want. The thing is that we have intentional desires and we have unintentional desires, and those unintentional desires are to do with our programming, which is that whole safety system within the body. It's like, these things have happened to me in the past, which has created these belief systems. So I'm going to unintentionally desire certain things to keep myself safe. So we have to pull those things out. We have to get really clear on what is intentional, unintentional, and we have to start intentionally creating the belief systems that create and manifest the reality that we want. So today I'm going to show you that framework. I'm going to show you that framework and how and why it will create those income months that you desire. I've worked with so many people in the last 2 years that I'm absolutely 1,000% confident that this is a powerful framework. It works over and over and over again. And if you do it this way, you'll succeed. And if you don't do it this way, you won't succeed. And it's not just me that does this, it's the mentors that I follow. Oh, we've got somebody else popping in. And it's the mentors, not just that I follow, it's the mentors that I've worked with. So the thing is about this framework is the way that you can implement it for yourself. So other mentors aren't necessarily delivering this as a framework, but it's been their journey. So this is a framework that you can take and you can apply. Hey, Valerie, how are you? So the thing that really, when I was reflecting on the last 12 months and the clients that I've had lots of one-to-one clients in the last 12 months, which has been amazing. And I had one particular client that blew my mind. She absolutely blew my mind. Oh God, everybody's cracking on in now. She there? Hey, Patty. We've just got started, so just listen in and you can catch up on the start from the replay. I had one client that blew my mind, just like you, Avril. She literally came to me having not used social media at all. And within 4 weeks, we had got her on social media, using social media. She landed 20 grand or 18 grand in clients. And she's like celebrating and she's getting started and she's getting in and she's like, oh my God, it works. She'd been following me for a little while. And in the back of her head, she was like, oh, I'm not sure this can be that easy. I'm not sure that it works, right? And then she's like, it works. And then within about 4 weeks, she's starting to drop off the sales. She's still posting and she's still getting leads. And she was saying no to these leads one way or another. Like, it wasn't intentionally she was saying no, but things on these conversations were leading to her not closing these sales. And we started to dig into it and we started to realize that as she'd called in these clients actually were not aligned to her at all. This work that we were doing on the side, because we'd gone so quickly through the personal story formula, we'd nailed her ideal client. We thought, based on what she knew about herself at the time, we'd nailed the social media strategy, we'd nailed the mission, we'd nailed the message, we nailed the, how does she show up? Where does she show up? All of that really fast. But as we started to then dig into the framework, she started to see and learn things about herself that she had not realized. And as she was working with these ideal clients, she realized that they weren't ideal at all. And there was so much more of her to come through. And the thing was that she was playing small. She wasn't playing at the level where she then started to realize was her level, was her next level. There was this whole level of impact that she wanted to make. There was this whole new side to her business that she wanted to explore. But there was also limiting beliefs and stories that were stopping all of that. And so it was interesting how this relationship with this client played out. The 6 months was, like I say, insane, fast progress on the monetary side. And then really realizing that there was all this stuff underneath that started to come out as we started to connect with her truth, who she truly is, her authentic soul. And then the work really started, right? So I'm loving Patty's background there. Are you in Mexico? Is it Mexico where you are? Yeah. Oh, you're on mute. Hang on.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I'm in Mexico. Sorry, I was like moving around trying to get my tripod so I could just post you up and take amazing notes from all your beautiful.
I love it. I love that. It's just, I feel like I need to get my big round hat and like put the tambourines on. It's like that whole, you know, Central South American feel. I love it. It just gets my soul goal going. So what I'm saying is, you know, a lot of us, when we're in that position where we're not making money in our business, we want to make the money, right? We want to make the money, and we want to make the money fast. But what I discovered, and what my clients have discovered, is actually you can make that money and can still feel a little bit like shit. Towards the middle of last year, my daughter got very, very sick, and we ended up in hospital. And I had this realization that the work that I was doing, focusing solely on social media, it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't letting all of me through. And so I had this moment where I was feeling like if I had have lost her that day in the hospital, I would have regretted the time that I had spent on my business and not with her. And that's a really uncomfortable way to feel. It's like you hear that people on their deathbed say that top 5 things that they regret is is those experiences. And it's really important to consider as part of your business development this year, who is the ultimate you? Who is the ultimate you? What is preventing you stepping into that identity? What does that next level look like? What does that next level look like through you? Because you create it, right? You create all of it. That's why you don't have the success that you want, and you don't have those 20K months right now, because something is limiting your action and it's limiting your attraction. Because those belief systems that we have, their energy, and that it's pouring out of us all the time. Just like after that with my daughter, you know, realizing I wanted more time for my children, but also realizing that I built this, you know, 6-figure business that was literally sat on my lap. And I was like, how the fuck do I deal with this? You know, I didn't have a team. I didn't have automation. I didn't have funnels. And my energy started pouring out. Claire, you're at capacity. And we always reflect back what we pour out. It's always a mirror. Whatever we see in our current reality, it's our very recent thinking. And our thinking always comes from our belief systems. So this session really is about a new year, a new you, but it's through your embodiment. And it's where you put your focus. Where do you put your focus strategically? What is going to work strategically? But also what is going to work on the personal side, in that personal development, in that spiritual development. And knowing that the goals you have require you to shift that identity, because if you were there already, you would have that success already. So you need to embody and you need to step into the ultimate you. And I want to ask at this point, is this bringing anything up for anybody right now? Or do you have any thoughts on this right now, or anything that you want to share? Maybe you've had that fast success, but you felt that misalignment too. Does anybody have anything coming up that they want to share? And welcome, I've forgotten how to pronounce your name. That is terrible of me. Tamiris and Valerie, welcome, welcome, welcome. And Patty, welcome. Anybody want to share anything? No, we've got some tapping.
I wanted to say, I feel like I'm constantly evolving and changing, and it keeps changing what I'm doing as I go. It just keeps moving.
100%. And you know why? Because that's the nature of the universe. Like, the universe is always expanding. Patty actually is the one who sort of catalyzed my breathwork journey. because when I got into what she was doing with the, with the Soma breath, like it was this insane self discovery journey that was just accelerated by 100 times. Every time I went into the breath work, I connected with another level of myself, and I was like, holy hell, where have you been? And so that constantly adapting and evolving, it's completely natural. That's what the universe is doing. And we're actually always, when we're in that resisting state, we're not working energetically with the energy, the universal energy. We have to be open and, I guess, allowing to that evolving. But I do believe that there is one mission, and it's like one soul goal. And we have to find that, and we have to find, especially for our marketing, we have to find the messaging and story around that. But it is always going to evolve as you go through these experiences of that change, right? And it's how do I explain it? It's like, it's all happening on purpose. But if you don't find the story around it to communicate and share, you can't take your audience on that journey. And the most important thing with your social media is taking the audience on the journey with you. And that's why we can create 20 grand months without ever having been on social media before, ever having a following, because we can do the work with our content and our engagement strategy and our knowledge of who we want to work with, and move really, really quickly, even without the need for a website or a blog or anything like that. It's about taking them on that journey. And so you've already started those steps, Naomi. You have really powerfully, certainly in the time that I've been working with you, opened up and shared very personally and very like it's like the inhibition to say the things that feel uncomfortable to you hasn't been there. You've just said it. You are sharing that truth, and that's only going to deepen. And this is what we're going into today. Yes, there's the strategy, but we have to deepen that inner work as well. We have to keep working through those programmings, and we have to have no resistance around what that programming looks like and some of the potential blocks, because we can only shift them, we can only clear them when we see what they are. And sometimes we can't see them for ourselves. And like you experienced as well in one of our accelerator sessions, there was a past life sitting there energetically within you that was blocking you in those feelings, physical feelings, emotional feelings. We get to clear all of that out, which is powerful. Is that helpful? Yeah. Valerie said something. Definitely agree with this and stepping into what I can be. Valerie, do you see it? Do you see what that is, what that looks like? She's still there. Let me know in the comments I want to know if you can see it really, really clearly and actually feel who she is authentically at that next level. Patty, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to paraphrase that, because I do feel like something's shifting in me now. And like, yeah, like I feel like I've gotten in this place of complacency. Like I love what I'm doing. I love sharing Soma breath. I love the groups, the small groups that I'm in. I love, I created Bhavana Bottle, this company that I love. It was an alignment, with, something my soul wanted to share that does good for the planet. But there's still this like misalignment. I felt that like I wasn't fully showing up, and I've just been resting in this complacency, and that's been causing more and more like this whisper. It's just like, it's time, take it. And I have so many documents, so many ideas. I'm a manifester, in human design. I just feel like I have so many hundreds of documents where I've written down so much that wants to come forth from me, but then it stops there. Like I've created this wall where I've created so much, but I've blocked the barriers and haven't opened up the gates. All I needed to do is like, from where I am now, the identity of who I am now to where I want to be is like just opening up the portals. And it's like, I feel like I'm just now realizing how like little of a step that actually is. But in my mind, I've been telling the story that I like needed to do so much to, and that was creating this like block in me. And so I never took that first step. And it's like, now I'm finding so much joy. I'm doing these little steps every day, and there's so much joy that's coming from just these little actions. And it's like almost like this huge weight I feel like I've taken off myself, the feeling that like I needed to do so much, and it was all just the story that I had told myself that blocked me from ever initiating the first step. So yeah, I don't know if that explains anything or how that answers, but
it's like it gives me the shivers inside, because it is exactly that. Yeah. If we were able to take ourselves out of ourselves and observe some of these thought processes that run through us completely unconsciously, we would just stand there and go, oh, look, it's that story I tell myself. And it's completely untrue, you know, and by changing that programming, we change everything, and energetically we change everything, because you've just said that small action, taking one action, which shifts your vibration to that next level emotion, you know, raises your vibration into that higher of emotion frequency, which then starts moving everything. You're then influencing what is around you more easily as well, because you're more in congruence with that energy. When we're stuck, when we're fixed, when we're low, everything's stuck around us as well. I very interestingly connected with somebody who I used to train, actually, in Muay Thai kickboxing. And she's obviously had a lot going on. She's had, I guess, bad luck. And I obviously now know that bad luck just doesn't exist. And she'd shared on social media how this thing had happened. And then I noticed over Christmas how this other thing had happened, and this other thing had happened, and this other thing had happened, and this other thing had happened. And I was like, holy shit, love, you're creating this. You're creating all of it. And when we start to create something different through ourselves, which means we have to let go of the victim programming, we have to see those things that are happening to us from a completely different perspective, right? Which means shifting the belief systems. Then the luck starts to change. We create all of it. We're powerful manifestors. We don't realize how powerful we are, you know, and I obviously experienced that again this year, with a really traumatic event that I feel deeply within myself I created. And that was what woke me up. It was like, Claire, you can create anything you want, and that includes the things you don't want. You got to be clear. You got to be clear in those signals and those energies that you're putting out into the world. And yeah, it's really, really, really powerful. Did anybody have anything else before we dig in? Because I want to get into the sales and marketing first, because there's 7 things that you have to be doing through your sales and marketing. Absolutely faux show. But if you want to start communicating powerfully and connecting with those people, there's an easy way to do it, and there's a hard way to do it. And I want to show you the easy way. But there's obviously this other side of that as well, which we'll dig into before the end. So did anybody have anything specific that they wanted to walk away with today, just to make sure that in the next, because we will run over time, because I always run over time, that we nut it out and we clear it for you, or we get you the answer that you need, or the clarity or anything else? Did anybody have anything specific that they wanted to particularly come out of the session with? 3, 2, 1, gone. Amazing. Okay, so the 7 things that you need to look at in terms of your sales and marketing. Number 1 is, how do you grow your network every single day? Every single day. I want you to ask yourself, am I growing my network every single day? There are multiple places that we're showing up online: Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Facebook. Are you growing your network every day, or are you speaking to the same people every day? The way that for example, good old Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, the creator of ClickFunnels, the practical theory behind what he does is he just moves people through pipelines. So we take this entire social media opportunity and we bring people down a funnel that then just brings people through the door when they're ready to buy from us. But if you're not shifting your audience, you're not listening to your audience, and you're not qualifying your audience, you're not disqualifying your audience, then you're going to get stuck. The algorithm's going to fall down for you because you're not going to get engagement. Social media has to be social, right? You have to have engagement. And so there are lots of ways every day through engagement strategy, which I can share with you, but not today, that you start to grow your audience. You can grow your audience as well through stages, media, collaborations. I want to show you just quickly on the subject of funnels. Sorry, this is my calendar, which is completely not working for me today, which has been fun. Just to challenge my little admin brain. And my admin's still on Christmas break too, which is quite funny. It's like, help, nobody's listening. So this is a traditional funnel. It's a pipeline to collect leads and convert them. So a traditional funnel will be something like your content and a call to action, or this could be a video, social media content, or a video on YouTube, or an article in a magazine, or whatever. But generally, it's content on social media where you drop a freebie and then people click for your freebie. They end up on your list. And from there, you upsell them, you have order bumps, you have thank you pages that lead them into Facebook groups, but you get them on a list and then you warm them through an email sequence. And this is where people are getting stuck because email open rates are very, very low. I've heard lots of talk in the industry that email is being replaced by text messages. Even text messages, because they're faster, are a better option than email because we're not opening our emails as much, we're unsubscribing from things. Plus, the rate of an opt-in to your freebie from social media is very, very low as well. It's like 1 to 3% of people will actually opt into your freebie. So when you're investing all of this time and money into creating a website and you're hoping to hook in leads from your website, first of all, you've got to get them off your social media. Second of all, you've got to have compelling enough copy or a compelling enough freebie to actually get them to opt in. And who's to say that they do any of this upsell order bump stuff at all? And there is a very low buy rate through your email sequence. So actually the traditional funnel is really, really, really inefficient. And it definitely works. It works for those people who have been in their business for a long time and have got their messaging nailed down. They've got their, they understand how to do copy, blah, 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 blah. They've got influence, they've got credibility, they've got somebody working their sales copy. But for us mere mortals and those taking the journey to 6 figures, when we don't have any of that stuff, this stuff's really, really hard. And so us mere mortals want to be using the You Unleashed funnel because as I found, it does work and it's easy. Now, I'm not saying that funnels and automation, as I realized in the second half of this year, when my business was at 6 figures and I was drowning and I had all of this stuff and I was like, holy shit, now I need some of this crap automated and I need, people working on my sales and whatever else. Spend money on that when you've got money. How do you get there? The You Unleashed funnel builds all of the growing of the trust and the warming and the influence and everything else up the front end. Now, we do that through relationships. We look at stage opportunities, getting your message out. We look at media opportunities. We get in front of other people's audiences, Facebook groups, even just showing up valuably in a Facebook group is powerful and increases eyes on your content. We look at how do we increase eyes on your content. We use a formula to create powerful content that has calls to action to speak to you. So a lot of people are dark on DM strategies, direct message strategies, but it's because you're not very good at the DM, or you've experienced people who are not very good at the DMs. You've had hard, pushy sales. I had to block a lady on social media the other day. She was trying to sell me. She wanted to be my Bitcoin manager. And the woman, like, I didn't know her from Adam. Her content was shite. And she just jumps in and she's trying to hard sell me into this thing. And I was like, we really need to work together, because there's no way this strategy is going to work for you. Is it working for you? You know, and that conversation didn't go anywhere. So I blocked her, so she stopped asking me. But the DM strategy is powerful when you've got really strong content, and when you've got good calls to action, and when you're being valuable to people. Why wouldn't someone, Valerie, who's just jumped on this from a conversation this morning, check out my free thing if she's seen that my content is useful, and that I'm a nice person, and that I'm actually real, and I'm legitimate, and I'm a mum, and there's all of these parts of my brand that warm her to me? People say yes, and it cuts out the need for this whole other side that actually is really difficult and time consuming and ineffective. Doesn't mean we don't look at these things. We do, but they're a plan B. They're not your plan A. Okay. So number one, you have to grow your network. And you can do this within social media, Facebook groups, following hashtags, engaging in your ideal audience, content, and the people who they follow. Collaborations, getting off social media and doing stages, but also the stages within social media, and your freaking social media content is a stage. And making sure you're doing that every single day, filtering out, disqualifying people. This has to be done every single day. Refreshing your audience. You don't want to end up with 5,000 people on your Facebook following who are not your people. Same on Instagram. I've had many conversations with people who've got 10K, 18K, 32K. How many sales are you making every month from your following? Not very much. We need to work on this. Right? It's really, really important. And the other side of it, energetically, it's not all about the action that you take on social media. It's about the action that you take within your mind, because if you truly see who you want to attract and you become the energy of your result, like I said on a post the other day, do the shit in your life that creates the results in other people's businesses. You say that you do all of these things, but then you look at your own life and actually you're not authentic to that. You're not investing yourself in the things that you know create those results because of your stories, because of your blocks. So it's actually about authenticity, and it's about being in the energy and the visualization, the vision of who it is you want to work with and the opportunities that you want to have, and they will come to you. They do come to you. I've experienced this many times, and it's really exciting, because you sit there and you go, holy shit, this manifesting stuff works. Where did they come from? How did that happen so easily? Instead of hours and hours on social media chasing things, forcing things, become the power in your energy, right? Number 2, so I'll just stop the share. Grow your trust and influence. How do we do that? The personal story formula is all about that. It is how we connect with the parts of your story, and it's like, it's the parts of your story that will resonate with your audience and have them trust what you say that you do. Okay, so I had an interesting situation in the last couple of weeks where somebody reached out to me from my list, and she said, I really don't feel like your current actions are congruent with the personal story formula that you teach. And I was like, you're actually right. Because I've had to, I've grown that trust and influence. I've got the list. I've got it, I've got all of these things that the personal story formula builds you up to. I don't have to follow the personal story formula anymore. It's to get you to a certain place, right? And then you look at the funnels and the automations and everything else. And that's what she was seeing through my list, was these automated email sequences, these campaigns, And I was like, you're actually completely right, but it shows you it works. It shows you how to get there. But that's what we do with the personal story formula. It's the content and it's the engagement strategy. The engagement strategy is almost more important than the content, because if you haven't got targeted eyes on your content, then there's no point posting at all. And if you're not working with the algorithm and you don't have a good algorithm score, then there's just no point, right? It's just wasted time. I laughed this morning because I've just been so inspired over Christmas, because I've been getting into, Patty, I've been going down to the beach and breath work, doing my breath work every day. And, my husband's here. So I've just been taking full advantage and going to the gym every day. So I've had this beautiful rhythm of getting up, doing my meditation, going down to the gym, going down to the beach. And I've been like creative monster. It's like it's just been pouring out of me. I've got content stacked for freaking months, right? But I can't remember what happened yesterday, and I didn't post on Instagram. And my followers dropped. I was like, fuck you. Come on, man. Like, seriously, one day I didn't go on and I didn't do, my engagement and my post. It really does make a difference. At the same time, I also got locked out of Instagram for an entire week during Christmas for going a little bit too hard on the DMs, a little bit too fast. And I got thrown in Instagram jail, because I was very excited about the Birth Your Truth event coming up in January. I was firing out, these messages to these people who I thought it would be a fit for. And I was like, right, okay, well, I'm going to trust. And instead of doing the work on social media every day, I'm going to visualize and I'm going to see and I'm going to connect energetically with who I want to call in. And my followers went up. It was like I've reached 52.3% more people across that week, even without content, because I could still answer messages, and my followers went up. They didn't go up hugely, but they went up by about 25 people, which, considering that I was doing nothing apart from calling it in, was quite cool. So I'm not saying you can sit back and do nothing, but there's like, you have to have the intention, you have to take action. I do feel like I was gifted that pause from Instagram because I really wanted to hang out with my children over Christmas. But the personal story formula gives you the ins and outs of that content strategy and that engagement strategy. Number 3, how do you warm up your followers to what you do without selling to them? You've seen people do it and you've seen the engagement that they get, AKA they don't get any, right? It's like as soon as you start selling on your post, boom, you're done. The algorithm picks up words like click and link and register and sign and buy, right? And it just doesn't show you posts to anybody, because there is a whole business behind social media that wants you to pay for advertising. Okay, so how do you warm your followers up to what you do without telling them, without having these posts that sell? And the answer to that is through your brand. It is through, so what we do with the personal story formula is we work out your brand pillars. We work out what you show from your life, from your classroom every day, so that people just click, they just by osmosis start to understand what it is and the result that you create. And I teach you how to do what I call sharing from your classroom. So there are obviously certain shifts that your clients are going to take working with you, and you know how to create those shifts because of knowledge that you have from your experiences and your story. And so learning how to identify how you share from those experiences that you have every day, and this is taking people on the journey, right? You're taking them on the journey. Your content is it's like it's in flow, it's easy, it's alive, it's dynamic, it doesn't get samey, because we learn to share from the classroom and we learn to give value. We should be always giving value, asking ourselves, how is this about my audience and what is in it for them? This is not about me, it is about them. Even when we're sharing story, how is it about them? Number 4, we funnel them. So I said that, there isn't like that whole second part to the funnel, But funneling does actually qualify and disqualify your audience. So the first way that you can qualify somebody, disqualify them, is through a low commitment lead magnet. So I'm saying to my girls all the time, Naomi, for example, like, how can you just like put that out as a lead magnet? How can you say, I've got these 3 things that you can do to create this result? See who puts their hand up. Because if it's a free PDF, if it's a 5-minute meditation, if it's, a YouTube video, something that's just not much commitment and they say yes, then you're starting to lead them in your direction and understand that what you have is potentially right for them. You're a fit. Remember that buy cycle on social media. 1% of people are ready to buy. 1%, 3 to 5 people, 3 to 5% people, they're not your people. And then all these people in between just need more information because you're warming them up, you're growing your trust and influence, you're moving to them to that ready place. So to understand and kind of catalyze that, accelerate that a little bit, a low commitment lead magnet helps. So we do this a lot in the personal story formula, actually once a week. We're dropping something, and often it's directly out of our classroom. One of my clients, Michelle, she's really good at this now because she's been working with me for a couple of years, and it's like we're doing the deep work on her internal programming and on her growth. And so she has this big aha moment, and then she just throws it out there as a potential value piece for her audience. And they're on the same journey, right? We're just always just a little bit ahead. And so they put their hands up. We never create anything until they say yes, even if it's just one person saying yes, but it qualifies them. We can get into conversation. Often we don't even have to send the lead magnet because in the conversation, we can get them on the phone, okay? Number 5, considering a higher commitment lead magnet. That's something like this. I'm taking your time. I'm asking for an hour and a half of your time. Something like a challenge. Challenges are still like doing really, really well. Again, you are bringing people that you've warmed up into an experience with you where they get to understand a little bit more about what you do and how you do it, and they get value from it as well. They have shifts, and you can have the sell at the end. So the personal story formula, when you do that as my 8-week digital course, teaches you how to create that flow. Every single 8 weeks, you're working towards a higher commitment lead magnet. It can be 3 months or whatever, but you work on that flow of warming people up, closing them, warming people up, closing them. But the way that your content works so well, you're often closing a bunch of them before you even get to the high commitment lead magnet, right? Because your content's doing the work for you. That also takes the pressure, and you have fun in something like a masterclass and a challenge because you know that the people are turning up, they're already warm to you. You've already sold, you're not in scarcity. You're just like, fuck it, this is the icing on the cake. If I get to sell through this thing over here, then brilliant. If I don't, it doesn't matter, right? So the 6th thing is we ask. And this is where your biggest block might be, because you're struggling to ask. You're feeling certain things and you're assuming certain things about people or about yourself that mean that it's really hard for you to ask the question. You might have a hookup. That's not the right word. This is breastfeeding. It completely takes away your vocabulary. It's like when you feel like when people are like, oh, sales, oh my God, my heart, sales, no, dirty salesman, man in suit, selling electricity, hard sales. Oh my God, you've got hard sales. You are the devil. Selling is serving. It's serving. I actually said to Avril, who was on the call earlier, but she had to jump off because of a client that, she's got because she's showing up on social media. She's amazing. I said to Avril the other day, we were talking about the event that's coming up on the 22nd. I was like, Avril, I can't service you by you looking at my stuff. We worked together last year. She's obviously doing really well. And we haven't worked together for a few months talking about the event. I was like, sign up to the bloody event, because you just looking at my content, it's not going to create the shift. I have to actually go deep with you. We have to take this next, we have to make this next level happen. You have to ask, you have to be able to ask. And this is why all of that strategic stuff only works when we work on the internal stuff as well. Because those feelings that we have, their energy, they block everything. They block you showing up. They cause that inconsistency. Who here has been inconsistent in 2021, started something and stopped, known that they should do something every day, but hasn't, had those little feelings or those little voices that tell them, you don't need to do it today? Who is on my 22-day breathwork challenge right now and hasn't done their breathwork? Because that little voice crept in and they were like, you don't need to do it today, you can stay in bed. We can do anything consistently and we will get success. Valerie, was it Valerie? No, it was another lady who signed up. She's been doing live videos for the last year. She's been going live every single day. And I said to her, my mentor, one of my first ever mentors, I think he's done a video every single day up until last year. He stopped because his team got so big and they started doing the videos for him. He's done a video every day for 14 years. He said the first videos that he did were absolutely shit, but he pushed through and through that discomfort of showing up every day and learning about himself and making them better and finding out what it was within him that made him not show up authentically or him not show up in that true ultimate way. He just got better and better at them. So you can do something not very good, but do it consistently and still get results. The point is we need consistency, and it is how we feel that blocks that consistency. So we have got to get to grips with those stories. What is it that you're believing about money that is blocking you actually making money? Is it that you feel like money's hard to make? Is it that you experienced a certain way with money? I was thinking about my mother-in-law the other day. She's actually quite wealthy. And the more I've learned about the background of my husband's family is that wealth actually comes from my husband's dad. So he had his own business. He got into importing here in New Zealand, which was massive food importing. So his business made a lot of money. And this is completely the opposite to the story. And I think his family as well was kind of well off-ish. But the background for my mother-in-law is farm girl, New Zealand farm girl, always only having enough, frugal about everything, right? Don't use too much of it because it's going to run out. We make it ourselves. We get it from the land. And to me, the land is abundant. But, you know, with the stories that I've heard from her childhood, everything was scrimped and saved on. Now, when when we hang out with her now, she's exactly the same. It's like nothing gets wasted. She even reuses the cling film, and it's not from an environmental point, because I pointed out to her that we don't even have to use cling film anymore. There's this like squishy stuff that you buy and they're reusable and they last forever, and you wrap them up and, you know, and you can get those beeswax wraps for it's not an environmental thing. It's a money, and we don't need money. So what we believe about money is how we show up with money, and is what we attract with money. So again, our clients are a complete mirror to us. Often we're trying to serve people in the areas that we're most stuck. And so, and I've been completely open and honest about my journey with money. And it's why I'm so passionate about helping people with money blocks, because I went from a food bank to 6 figures. And it was because of the shit that I believed about money and the shit that I believed about myself. And self-worth is scarcity, because it's a scarcity of worthiness. And money mindset and worthiness are completely related. They're completely the same, right? It's a lack of worth. It's things that we believe about ourselves. And I've had a massive journey there too. And it's a journey that I am not through at all, because when I looked at my vision for 2022 and the size of it, I shit my pants. And I went through this whole journey again, this is why my business is called Full Circle, because we're always taking these little circles around, landing up here and then going again. We're unlayering again, and we are growing and we are expanding, and we are finding out these these weird ass things that we believe about ourselves and the world that are creating these reality tunnels. You know, we've got to get to the grips of them. We've got to understand, if you're not selling, okay, do you have insecurities about selling yourself? You know, it's just another scarcity. It's just another lack. Like attracts like, so you will attract the same thing in. So you exist in the reality that you create with your mind. In the quantum leap framework, we look at that ripple effect of belief. We understand what is at the core of your belief systems that is limiting you, and how is that creating your lens of the world. You look at the world in a certain way because of what you believe. Look at what's going on with the global vaccines and the COVID thing and the mandates. Everybody is seeing it through the lens of their perception of themselves and the world, which means everybody's seeing it differently, and not one single person is right. But you have to ask yourself, with how you see things and what you believe, how you see it, and then the identity that shows up to keep you safe within those beliefs is authentic to your fucking soul goal, authentic to your beliefs and your values, everything you truly are on the inside. Because I reached a point in my life where I was like, this really sucks. This isn't who I am on the inside. You know, I spent the reason why I'm so drawn to Patty is the travel. It is and this is what has come out of me in the last 12 months, is that embodiment, the integration. That was all me, but I was scared to death to do it all, because I'd been through an experience that had traumatized me and made me feel like, first of all, I was completely powerless to the world, but also that the world was completely unsafe, and I had to unwrap all of that, had to unravel all of that, and had to prove to myself that I'm absolutely powerful. And that these things in the world that scare me, I only see them because of what I believe, and I can change those belief systems. So we work through that ripple of belief. And on the outside of it is that identity. And that's what we're really going to be digging into on the 22nd, is that identity shift, because you act in a certain way because of those beliefs, and it's not embodying the ultimate you. It's not embodying the ultimate you. There are these beautiful awakening cards from Eleanor Brower. I don't know if you've seen them. And one of them, can you see that in the light? That's bad. They're called Practice You, Daily Awakening deck. And on one of the cards is your actions are like little prayers going up. I love that card because it's so true, right? Because of your energy, actions are little prayers going up. And that is why we attract back everything that we're doing. It's all energy. It's everything we are is energy. Money is energy. It's completely available. Again, if you don't believe that, look at what's happened with, global vaccine mandates. Suddenly we found billions of dollars to invest in these little sticks of medicine when we can't sort healthcare and we can't sort education because we don't have any money. Bullshit. We create money and we prioritize money based on belief systems. So everything's a mirror. If you believe money is scarce, you'll attract people who tell you that you can't afford it. If you're holding on to any limiting belief, it will limit you in your business. And the power is becoming aware and becoming neutral. It is taking the sting off that belief so that you act in a different way, because the feeling isn't there to block you anymore. And that's where we have to do the trauma work. The way that I do trauma work is different, and it's powerful and it works because it's 3-pronged. So again, is that language I just made up? My daughter's teething at the moment. She's got 2 molars coming in and she's got a cold. And so our sleep has been completely non-existent for about the last week. So I feel like I don't have any vocabulary, but there's 3 kind of points, anchors to the trauma work that we do. And number 1, it is we do work with that traumatic event, and we ignite through the release of the limiting belief that was there in the first place. We ignite the new enlightenment, the new belief. Number 2, we get the trauma out of the body because the body stores that trauma in memory. So we have to lift it out of the body and move it out of the body as well. Number 3, we actually do the shit that creates the neuroplasticity. And the reason why I created my lens process, my trauma process, is because I was so frustrated of people spending money and investing time and going through the discomfort of uprooting a limiting belief, that was sitting in trauma, having that enlightenment in the moment, and then within a couple of weeks, just going back to exactly where they were, because they never actually shifted and changed the landscape of their brain. That imprint doesn't move. It starts to, but to, finish that process, we need to be changing our habits every single day. We need to be meta-programming. We need to be doing the stuff that imprints the new belief systems. And so we need to be putting good shit into our mind every single day, right? And if you have done the trauma work, but you're also hitting those walls, you're still finding yourself coming up against yourself, it's because you haven't created the neuroplasticity. So what we do is we focus, and this is what we do in our accelerator. Naomi is like a soldier. She shows up to everything. She's amazing. She shows up to our breath work, shows up to our movement, shows up to the yoga, because we're investing time in slowing our brain waves down. And when we slow our brain waves down, we are actually accelerating that neuroplasticity. We're changing our habits. We're healing our nervous system. We put a lot of focus on healing the nervous system, because actually that's a huge part of trauma release and healing, is actually helping the nervous system to come back to a place of peace and calm and not be in that hypersensitized state. So it works. And if you don't believe me, if I'm not convincing you, just know that you've believed whatever you've programmed into your mind right now, haven't you? There's limiting beliefs that you believe them. So why wouldn't you believe the opposite? And it's what you are believing that are driving those feelings. And it's those feelings that really stop you stepping out and stepping into your next level and firming that up with massive action and inspired action and easy attraction. So I have a slurp of my drink. I've got some questions in here. I'm going to open it up for questions at the end. So I said, so just to confirm, whatever is programmed into your mind will get done. It will happen. You'll either do it or you'll attract it. You got to program it in. I told you there were 4 steps, 4 parts of the pillars, 4 pillars of the framework. So we've covered sales and marketing. We've covered trauma. We've kind of danced into integration. So integration are those habits that supercharge your manifestation of your vision and create that motivation for action. So you're showing up every day in bold action, inspired action, aligned action, but also less action, because those opportunities are coming to you. The 4th pillar is authenticity. This is where we birth your truth. And we program in her identity through those new and imprinted belief systems. They're actually in. They're not just hanging on. They're not just an idea. They're not just an enlightenment. They are embodied, and they're embodied through your action. You really start to know who you are. Who are you? Who are you? Who is the ultimate unleashed, unlimited you? I'll tell you what my story was. Corporate world, working for an epic salary, had a really nice car, but I kind of justified the job because it was an environmental work. I was working in sustainability, so I kind of justified it to myself. Oh, it's aligned, but I was miserable. I knew on the inside that this wasn't me, but I had this trauma this big trauma that I was holding on to, and I was trying to ignore it. Like I would numb to it. So I would drink, I would smoke weed, I would, I did some really like things that I'm not proud of to get out of myself. And I was doing those things because deep down I knew that this wasn't who I was, it truly wasn't. I knew this life wasn't aligned to me, but it felt so unsafe to start taking action that would create something different. And this led me to that food bank. In a zigzag line, it led me to that food bank where I actually was down on my hands and knees, and I woke the fuck up because my children, there was this moment, this defining moment that I will never, ever forget. And it is where the lady was pulling cereal boxes out of the cupboard to put in our boxes to take away. And my daughters ripped into this box with their bare hands and started stuffing cornflakes down their throat, into their mouth. And I'd been so stressed by the experiences that had led to being in that food bank. We'd been in the supermarket, the cards had declined. I'd been, you know, just delusional, hoping that some miracle was going to feed us. And I hadn't noticed that they were hungry. And I dropped to my knees and I sobbed. And I told myself, it was like this entire body just shifted, like every single cell said, I am not going to be this person anymore. I am not going to do this anymore. Everything is going to change. Everything. And I have not looked back, I promise you, since that day in 2017. And I have not stopped rising. And I have not stopped going through the discomfort to take my next level. And a lot of that has been financial. Actually investing in the support that I needed to take the next level, realizing every time I hit a plateau, okay, it's time to step up. Every time I got into discomfort, realizing that actually there's something to be learned here for me to shift. And so that vision, that discovery, exploring opportunity, it's really powerful. We're in a paradigm right now. It's like we're in a box and there's only one door that we're looking through. And it's the lens of our belief systems, which show us one thing. And we need somebody to open that room up. And so that is my gift for you out of this session, is a call with me. And you get to explore any of the 4 areas that we've talked about today, whether it's sales and marketing, trauma release, integration, or birthing your truth. Birthing your truth. You get an hour with me and we're gonna dig into it. Okay, so while I open up for questions, I'm gonna pop my apply link, because I don't like to get on a call cold because it's harder for me to help you. So I'm going to put my apply link in the comments. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to fill in the form, but don't click the calendar because it's closed. It's still got my Christmas hours on it and I can't figure out why, because I handed all this stuff off to my admin and now she's on holiday and she can't help me. So don't click to book because it's pushing the sessions out really far. And I'm available to talk to you over the next 3 days. So if you apply, and I want you to do it right now, then I'll reach out and I'll tell you what slots are open and we'll work it around your time zone. So while you're doing that, let me flick up to let me just double check I've given you the right link. You'll have to copy it out and pop it in a browser. I will double check that it works. It works. Perfect. So what we've got Naomi, so you guys, Naomi and Avril should totally hook up. So Avril needs more ease. Well, we've more ease and more flow. We've completely covered that today. Does everybody feel like they get it? They can understand, even if it's just theoretically, intellectually, how you can run your business in 2022 with more ease and more flow. I'd love to know if you put a little thumbs up on your emojis. Valerie, I'm not sure if I can see it clearly enough. She's jumped off, but I'm going to follow up with her because that is so important. Naomi's got a finger up. Woo! It's so important. The vision is everything. The vision is absolutely everything. It's the starting point. It was a starting point for me And the interesting thing was for me that when I was in that food bank and I came out and I did get a coach, and she was literally divinely guided to me, I ended up signing up for a network marketing opportunity, put it on another credit card. And she was she was the sponsor of my sponsor, and she was a coach, and she took me under her wing, and she was my start in personal development. I'd already trained as a coach at this point, but I wasn't coaching. And one of the first questions was like, Claire, if you don't want what you have right now, what does what you want look like? And I saw black, and I was like, well, okay, we need to do some work here. So Valerie, we need to do some work here. We need to get that vision opened up. What do you do when you feel stagnant? Question is, Tamiris, why are you feeling stagnant? Why is that motivation not there? If we look, there's an anagram there. Beliefs drive your enthusiasm, which drives your action, which creates your results. So you got to take it way back to the front and say, what are the belief systems creating that lack of motivation, that lack of enthusiasm, that lack of energy? And also, even just holding trauma in the body and in the mind it's exhausting because of your nervous system, because of how your nervous system creates the thought impulses. And if your mind's running thoughts all day long, it's absolutely exhausting. So you could just be low on energy. So that's a big question, and one that I would love you to book your call so we can dig into. Valerie needs an email list for sure. Not really, to be honest. Like I said, my business got to 6 figures and had an email list through the personal story formula, but I wasn't selling through the list. I was selling on social media. So your focus should be social media. Patty's got to jump off. Happy New Year. So no more questions. That's amazing. So I did say on the invite that if you wanted to stick around and listen to, I said I was going to be introducing the Quantum Leap Intensive, which is how you take the framework and actually coach other people through it. So you actually learn how to apply quantum science, trauma release, and meta programming that authentic truth. You learn how to do that for yourself and for your clients. And the beauty of that is that actually you get to go through the process that I take my high ticket clients through. So my 30K clients, you get to learn what we do and do it for yourself. So I'm running the next certification on the 8th of February or the 7th of February. So I'm starting the expressions of interest now in case you want to jump into that. So if you're not interested in the certification, jump off. If you are interested in the certification, stay on, and we can have a little chat about that. Naomi says, thanks, that was awesome. You're so welcome. And I will see, are you going to be on the warrior workout today, or are you still on holiday? It is Thursday, isn't it?
It is Thursday, yes. I'll see how I go. I'm on child duties this afternoon, but perhaps she wants to join me, so we can try.
Yeah, definitely. We can make it child friendly. Tamiris is going as well, I think. Okay, perfect. So you guys hop off, and then I will record this final bit for those who wanted to stay on the recording. It's so lovely to see you guys. Take care. Bye.